This podcast will fail. Mostly because nobody's going to listen to it. But you might prove me wrong. Who knows? Well, welcome to episode 27 of This Podcast Will Fail. My name is irrelevant. I am just some guy. And who I am and where I am is not important in the context of the conversations that I come to have with you. Or, so far as I can tell, two of you and myself. So, I don't really actually have much to talk about today. Today is effectively my weekend, I guess you could say. It's my day off. I have to work on Saturdays, so today is a Sunday when I'm recording this. Some family time today. Took my youngest 3 children to a pumpkin patch. We're coming up on Halloween in the next couple of weeks here. And I don't think the only thing that really stuck out to me was just kind of a weird sense of, I don't know, like nostalgia in a way, but also this odd, just disconnected feeling with reality and what this is all supposed to feel like versus what the world is actually feeling like these days. So, pumpkin patch, Halloween, and really apply it to just about any American holiday. As a parent and raising children, there's just traditions. There's things that you did when you were growing up that your parents might have done, and you try to carry those traditions on to your kids. But the world is such an odd place now. The traditions they don't feel the same, and then that's for a couple of reasons. Most primarily, for me anyways, is the fact that my oldest 3 aren't really a part of these little tiny holiday-ish traditions anymore. I have 6 children that my wife and I have raised. I say children even though one of them the oldest one is turning 23 in a few weeks, and I have a 21-year-old and a 18-year-old off at college. So, where there were 6 coming along for things like a trip to the pumpkin patch to pick out carving pumpkins and, get cider and donuts and do that whole fall Halloween thing. Now there's only 3. It's weird. Not used to it. I don't know if any parent does get used to it. I don't know if anyone out there is listening to this. If you're a parent of grown children, was this as tough for you as it is for me? Things just feel different, and I mean, I suppose that you could say a lot of what feels different is just the very nature of this year, 2020, when everything feels different, nothing feels the same, nothing works the same. We're in the middle of this crazy pandemic world, and stuff just doesn't look or feel normal. Nothing does. Even the stuff you try to do that's supposed to look and feel normal. When I'm out in this great open pumpkin patch with my children walking around, we're all wearing face masks. And I saw another family, mom and dad, and I think there were 3 or 4 kids, and the kids were probably all easily 10 years old or younger and younger. Not a single one of them is wearing a mask. Now, in the real world, we wouldn't be wearing masks all the time, but we have a dangerous virus that has killed several 100,000 Americans and far, far more worldwide, and it's nowhere near done. And we're now told we're moving into round 2 of this virus this year, and it shouldn't feel weird to look at other people and go, okay, you're not wearing a mask. That's weird. That's wrong. I didn't say anything, and their family and my family, there was plenty enough space to keep a wide berth, so we didn't get anywhere near these people, but it still just doesn't feel normal, right? And I guess nothing's supposed to feel normal anyways, when we're all trying to put a stop to a global pandemic. Oh, Lord. All I can do these days is seems like worry about whether any of the things that I think are normal will ever happen again. You know, one thing that came up when we were driving home, my 11-year-old daughter said something that made me stop and take a moment to reflect. And the conversation, I forget exactly what my 14-year-old daughter, 15-year-old daughter said, but she said something, and that made me go, that is the most 2020 thing I have heard all week. I just don't remember what it was she said, but it was definitely one of those like, yep, that's 2020. And my 11-year-old said, Dad, do you remember New Year's Eve last year? And you made this great big speech to all 6 of us. And at first I didn't. At first, my memory recall wasn't all that great as I was driving. And what are you talking about? What do you mean? And she says, well, you said to all of us about this being a new year and this being a new decade and this possibly being the last year that we're all together. And then that speech came back to me. And it was a little bit of a gut punch, honestly, because I did. I last New Year's Eve, I had everybody gathered together. We always have kind of a family night for New Year's Eve, or we always have had a family night for New Year's Eve, and we'd play games as a family. We'd watch movies, have snacks, and have a little mini family party with mom, dad, and the kids. And I knew, and looking at it now, I haven't thought about this all year until my daughter said it today. I knew, again, that this was possibly the last time that I'd have all 8 of us together at New Year's Eve doing what we do. And so we always have sparkling grape juice, right? Something you don't know about me. You have no idea who I am, and that's the way I intend to keep it. But one thing about me is I don't drink. My wife doesn't drink. I don't drink because I am a very nearly 20-year recovering alcoholic. That's something that I know I will speak to you about on December 20th, because December 20th of 2020 will be exactly 20 years since I have had any alcohol to drink. Yeah, that'll be a different subject for a different day. But anyways, in the context of New Year's Eve, we have sparkling grape juice to toast at midnight, and I was compelled this past New Year's Eve to talk to my children, several of them for the last time as children, right? And I knew that to a certain degree, a lot of the speech was going to go over the heads of the younger ones. I understood that, but I wanted to kind of talk to the adults. And I don't remember exactly everything I said, but the basic gist of it was, the world's moving on to a new place. This is the beginning of a new decade. This is the beginning of your lives as adults. And I certainly wanted to make sure they knew how proud I am of them for the people that it seems like they're turning into, the folks I know them to be. My oldest three are boys. I'm so far very proud of the men they're becoming. And I wanted to make sure they knew that. But I wanted to make sure they knew how important to me that that they don't lose sight of each other, and that they don't lose sight of family, and how this new year of 2020 and this new decade was going to hold so much promise for them, and the lives that they're about to embark on, and the world they're about to participate in. Not having any inkling that right around the corner was this ridiculous world that came instead of the 2020 that I thought was coming. So, to all of a sudden get bum rushed with that realization from my daughter's comment about the speech I gave makes you wonder what traditions, if any, I can continue to maintain when we can't, right now anyways, go anywhere or do anything, on top of the fact that my children are grown and they're itching to get away. Which is natural, right? It's normal. I did. I got out of my mother's house a week before I turned 19. I understand it. You want to be your own person, live on your own, but not just the sense of the impending empty nest that I see happening at the end of this decade, when all of a sudden my 11-year-old is a young adult and the last one to be ready to move on and move out and move into the world. But what does that world even look like? What does that world even have in store? We're rounding out this ridiculous year of 2020, which has just been a complete slap upside the head for everyone, everywhere. And don't know what next year is going to bring, and don't know what the rest of this decade's going to bring. And it's scary. It's just scary. I want my kids to be safe, obviously. Who doesn't? But I can't do anything to ensure their safety out into the world. My two boys are going to come home next weekend for my birthday. They're going to come home and be with us on Halloween night. It was almost gut-wrenching to text the boys and say, hey, I need you to contact the college nurse office and find out if you two are able to get COVID-19 tests before we bring you home. And I thought, Jesus Christ, that sucks. That sucks that I have to do that, that they have to do that. Now, to their credit, they both responded quickly. Yeah, of course, 100%. The school has those available, and we'll get it done, early that week before I go pick them up on next Saturday. Got to do that again for Thanksgiving. Got to do that again for Christmas, because I don't think there's going to be any vaccine. I don't think the world's going to be ready to open back up and just have a reasonable level of assurance that everybody's safe. We have no margin for error in this house. We have a couple of folks in my house here that are immunocompromised, that are at higher risk for complications from this coronavirus and this COVID-19. I am certainly in a high risk factor. I've had asthma my entire life. I have lungs that are made up of a heck of a lot more scar tissue than the healthy lung tissue I had as a as a brand new baby. A lot of reasons for that. I can barely get through the weather change in the end of the year here without having to rely on a albuterol inhaler and taking several medications every day to keep my lungs relatively happy, and they're usually not. It's not just about me. And like I said, there's people in the house here who you don't know, right? You got a lot of people out there shaking their heads and saying this is not a pandemic. It's overblown. It's overplayed. It's a 99% survival rate. It's this. It's that. I don't believe it. It's a hoax. All this other bull crap, and yet I have to err on the side of caution. It's not about living in fear. It's about not being stupid. As I look forward in time to the next several years, how do I protect my family when my family is moving on and moving out? I've only got another, 3, 4 years, maybe 5 with my oldest daughter before she's ready to move on. My youngest son is turning 14 next week. Lots of birthdays. He turns 14, the big one turns 23, and then I turn 45, all in the same week. How do I keep all these people safe? Can I even keep them all safe? And how do I maintain our family traditions in the middle of this crazy world with this crazy virus? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And that scares the hell out of me. Not knowing. Not even knowing. What are we doing? How is that supposed to work? I don't know. And that's tough. So, like I said, I wasn't really sure, again, what I was going to talk about today. Until my daughter mentioned the speech that I gave on New Year's Eve last year. And then it all just kind of hit me. So, I hope that's not too dour. There's still life to live. There's still things to do. There's still moments to be had. Right? There are little joys. Regardless of how much it changes, there is plenty to live for, plenty to be thankful for. And it's tough not to be scared, but I have to be hopeful, I guess. That's my job. That's what I'm tasked with as a father, is to be hopeful and hope that I've done everything I can to prepare my family for the world and keep them safe as much as within my power. And the rest, you just got to live, right? You don't stop life. You still pile into the car and go to the pumpkin patch and get cider and donuts. You still go through all the motions and the things you do, because this is life. This is what you have to do. So, okay. I guess that will be sufficient for today's conversation. I thank you. If those 2 of you out there are still listening. I know I can see every day that 2 people are starting the podcast. I don't know how far you're getting. It doesn't quite tell me how long you listen before you tune out. So I highly doubt that anybody's here at the 20-minute mark. But you never know. You may, as I say in the introduction, you may prove me wrong. And someday we may get to a point where I'm ready and comfortable to start talking to the world under my own name instead of just some guy, and have some conversations and interactions with you all. If anybody's interested in what I have to say, or not. Okay, I guess that's it. I'm gonna go crawl into bed and hang out watching superhero TV shows with my youngest daughter and enjoy what's left of my night. And thank you so much for taking a moment to listen. And talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.